Have you ever wondered about the true nature of reality? What if I told you that there are 5 discoveries in modern physics that suggest individuals have the power to control reality? These findings reveal a hidden potential within each of us, and realizing this power can lead to a complete reevaluation of our lives and a recognition that miracles can occur. The concept of reality control involves the ability to influence external reality at a subtle level, a significant difference between the people of the future and those of the past. While some may view these ideas as mere conjecture, the observer effect, demonstrated by the double-slit experiment, challenges our understanding of how observing particles of light changes their behavior, and shows that the act of observing reality can define what that reality will be. There will be 5 points, each of which will slightly open the veil of mystery, who this person really is. To realize your hidden power, rethink your whole life and understand that a miracle can happen in your life. The man of the future differs from the past in that at some subtle level he realizes that he can control external reality. Perhaps while you feel it is only at the level of conjecture. Ideas come to you when you put aside the thought that all this can't be, but they come again and again, as if someone is whispering in your head, telling you, you are not just a man of skin and bones. And then you start Googling reality check. Digging around, trying to figure out how it's even possible, and bumping into such a thing as the bystander effect. The observer effect covers the entire scientific community. How does the very fact of observing light particles change their manifestation? Until then, this seemed impossible, but the fact remains. The famous double-slit experiment showed that as long as we don't see light, it's a wave. That is, to put it simply, it floats in space, in an infinite field of possibilities. And when the viewer, the human consciousness, for example, observes the light, then the light becomes a particle. That is, it receives a specific place in space, becomes a material point, and not a probability scale. The first experiments with 2 cracks were performed by Thomas Young with light from 1801. In 1927, Davison and Germer showed that electrons exhibited the same behavior, which was later extended to atoms and molecules. That is, it has already been proven that the whole world behaves this way. And what does it say? Guess? The second discovery is Schrödinger's cat. You take a cat, you put it in a box, and the electron goes through 2 slits, either the right one or the left one. Schrödinger had a radioactive atom, but for the sake of simplicity, I will point to electrons. If the electron passed through the right slot and there is a device that releases poison, then the cat in the box is dead. And if nothing happens through the left slot, the cat will remain alive. Although we have not observed the electron with our consciousness, it is in a state where it is not known which slit it will fly through. The electron does not have a property that would indicate which slit it will eventually fly through. Simply no, it's a complete uncertainty. If we turn away and release an electron, then the reality where the cat is alive or dead will be uncertain. That is, until we look, we do not observe, the universe is not defined and cannot be defined. Only and exclusively, the fact of observation of consciousness over reality determines what reality will be. The third discovery is the quantum field of possibility. In 1929, the physicist Louis de Broglie received the Nobel Prize for discovering that all matter has wave properties. Previously, we were also convinced that human consciousness, by its fact of observation, determines where matter will appear and what event will happen to it. If we do not observe the world, then electrons and atoms simply exist everywhere and nowhere at the same time. This suggests that everything in the universe is pure energy potential. That is, we are talking about limitless possibilities and different options for the development of events. The given space for all possible events is called the quantum field. In it, everything exists simultaneously, in the present. In other words, imagine that there is already potential in space where you are rich, happy, and healthy. There are millions of them and they already exist. But the only question is whether the viewer will be able to take the right to make a choice which reality will eventually manifest itself, wealth or poverty. Success or failure, it turns out, depends on the viewer. Fourth discovery of string theory. The human body is made up of 30 trillion cells. If we go deeper into the cell, we will see that the cell is made up of atoms. There are 100 trillion atoms in each cell. And everything that we see in space, and all objects are also made of atoms. What are atoms made of? We move on to string theory, which says that all elementary particles, their fundamental interaction, are the result of vibrations and interactions of ultramicroscopic quantum strings. Different substances are composed of molecules consisting of atoms, other subatoms are quarks. And behind them are one-dimensional vibrating formations, strings. A feature of string theory is that it is not particles that act like bricks, but ultramicroscopic quantum strings that oscillate. Here, it is important to understand that the string does not represent any matter, but is actually energy, and therefore string theory implies that everything that exists is made of energy. Imagine how beautiful this universe is. It vibrates like a string. Physicists will not be able to hear if these strings play music for a long time. As if the whole universe was based on happiness, sounds of incredible beauty. As if God himself plays the strings. Plays and echoes with all fluctuations of our internal energy. Create reality according to our thoughts, words, and feelings. Beautiful, do you agree? And fifth, the illusion of reality. In 1981, the American philosopher Hilary Putnam conducted a brain in a flask thought experiment, which showed the illusory nature of our perception. Some scientist, Putnam suggests, could remove a human brain from the body, put it in a flask of nutrient solution, and connect the neurons to a computer. The electrical impulses that enter the brain are identical to those that it receives while in the body. Thus, a computer could simulate a virtual reality and a person, or rather his brain, would continue to be aware of himself as existing, and the surrounding world created by the computer as real. According to Putnam, a person cannot reliably assert that the reality he perceives is objective. Because it's just believing that statement. Putnam was a trailblazer for me, putting the reality of the world in question. In 1641, a similar thought experiment was described by the French philosopher René Descartes in his book Meditations on First Philosophy. I admit that everything I see is false. I guess everything never existed, which is to me a deceptive memory. I am completely devoid of feelings. My body, shape, extent, movements, and place are chimeras. But then what is true? Perhaps the only thing is that nothing is certain. Before Descartes, Plato spoke about this in The Myth of the Cave and Zhou Qi in The Parable of the Butterfly. And in 2016, Elon Musk stated that there is a 1 in a billion chance that our reality is not a fake. Scientists from different countries every year finds more and more evidence that we live in a matrix. If this continues, then in 30 years, the theory of the illusory nature of our world will become officially accepted. The 5 discoveries in modern physics that we have explored in this article suggest that reality control is possible, and individuals can influence external reality at a subtle level. These findings can lead to a complete re-evaluation of one's life and the recognition that miracles can occur. While some may view these concepts as conjecture, exploring the idea further and discovering the observer effect can help understand the true nature of reality and the hidden power of individuals. So, the next time you wonder if you have the power to control reality, remember that modern physics may hold the key to unlocking this mysterious and fascinating possibility.